Hi, my name is Shane Temple. I was pretty excited about the web design course from the get-go, and that carried on throughout the month. However, I actually thought that we would be touching on a bit more coding since we already had the editing for the web class. I personally started learning to write HTML, CSS, and JavaScript several months ago so that I could have a lot more control over how I wanted my own portfolio website to function. So I was a little bit disappointed in the fact that we were mostly dealing with CMS editing, but I decided that it would be a good opportunity to revisit what I could do with Wix. It turns out that not a lot has changed since I last used it, but they did add a developer option where you can input code with Corvid, which appears to be Wix's own take on JavaScript. I found that because of what I'd learned coding, I was able to manipulate my site a bit more than I could before by simply understanding what some of my JavaScript coding was actually doing. You can see what I mean with the alternating text on the Pixel and Path website that I designed this month. This is something that I'm implementing with JavaScript on my own portfolio site. One of the biggest reasons that I originally turned away from Wix was because of the way they handle the responsiveness of sites. It's either a standard desktop size or mobile. There's no way that I can figure out how to use Wix and make the website completely responsive for more than just 2 screens. So learning about Bootstrap is really what kickstarted moving more towards code. With that being said, this instance was no different. My site looked perfect on my large monitor, but in the instructor's feedback, there were elements cut off, overlapping, and just not lining up the way they were supposed to. I ended up coming up with a solution, but I still think it was pretty limiting, and the wireframes that I worked up did not help out at all. I think I was really trying to get way too complicated, and it ended up hurting me. If this were based on just effort, I would easily say that my overall performance was 100%. As I had frequent 2 and 3 day stretches without sleep, as I was so wrapped up in designing this site and trying to figure out how to make it do what I wanted. But since it's based on what I actually created, I would probably grade my performance between an 85 and 90. I feel that all of my other work was top tier, but the limitations really brought the site launch down for me. I would love to learn more about Corvid and the developer options with Wix, but I'd like to wait until I really have a strong grasp on JavaScript so that I don't end up confusing myself. But once I'm ready for it, there's a decent selection of resources for learning the ins and outs of Corvid. A quick web search brings up results for Udemy, a site called totallycodable.com, plus a wide array of tutorials and instructions on the Wix website itself. Corvid's actually one of the few things that I have not been able to find on Lynda or LinkedIn Learning. But I'm sure it's only a matter of time. I think if I had more time, I said from the beginning of this class that if time had allowed, I would have attempted to write my site using the code that I've learned, but it really just wasn't realistic. While you do get total control, it definitely takes a lot longer to physically write the code for a website, especially for somebody like myself that has less than a year of experience. I think that the biggest thing that I could have done differently was to simplify my plans. I have a really bad habit of trying to go above and beyond when there's barely enough time to just get it done with simplicity. I tell myself every month that I'm going to simplify my process for schoolwork, and it never happens. I've achieved the best grades that I've ever had while attending Full Sail, and I think in the back of my mind that if I tone it down at all, I might end up with a lower grade and it would affect my GPA. Typically that wouldn't be a huge deal over a few points, but I'm actually set to start my master's degree the week after I graduate from this program, and I don't want there to be any questions as to my capability to succeed. It's tough to say how I'll specifically use what we learned in this course for my career, as I really don't see myself using CMSs too often. But at the same time, there's things that I learned years ago that I felt the same way about, and I get value from that stuff on a daily basis. I did pick up some things about SEO that I did not know before, or refreshed my memory on, which helped out a lot. And I will definitely be using that in my website in the future, as everybody should. The best advice that I can give to future students in this course is not to overextend yourself. It's tempting to try to design something amazing that no one's ever seen, but try to refrain. If you don't keep it simple, you'll definitely miss out on learning some of the finer points, and I think that I might have. So I'll have to go back and touch up on it. So to avoid that, keep it simple. Thank you.